think I've had a part of me that's just ultimately deeply hated myself. Hated myself for all the mistakes that I made. Hated myself for all the traumas that I've endured. The people that I've loved, that I came here, that I even existed. I think I was angry and I hated myself for even coming here, for being on this earth, and to experience the density and the trauma that I have. And I think I would take that pain out, the previous versions of me and the selves that I created would take that pain and trauma and use that as ammunition to create war, to create total warfare. I would do it relationally, mainly, because that's what we're doing when we're doing war. It's relationally effing someone up and doing it to yourself, because that's the only way. I mean, that is the ultimate form of self-hatred, is warfare. Period. Anybody that you see that has a difficult psychology, that is enacting war, that's causing conflict, causing drama, it's just coming from a place of self-hatred and a lack of love. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we're allowing to play out. We're allowing these dictators to be in power. The most unwell, psychologically unwell, and infantile. And this isn't a judgment, a character judgment as like I'm better or worse than, a value judgment. It's just like literally the most de-evolved a human can be presents itself as narcissistic psychopathy. It's hard to say narcissistic whenever it's freaking 25 degrees outside. It's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. And so when you think about that, it's really alarming, because if you're anything like me, who I've got a taste of what narcissism is. I have had that in my psychology. I have been extrapolating and pulling that shit out by its root for years now, okay? It's not easy. And when you let that thing exaggerate and take over someone's entire psychology, or at least more than 50% of their psychology, it's really dangerous, because if you know anything about that psychology, it will take everything down with it. If it doesn't get what it wants, which is usually just chaos and control. It's weird. It seems like two sides of the same coin, but it's just like chaos for no fucking reason. It's just chaos. Total chaos for no reason. And destruction. Or to be right. To have the ultimate authority. That's usually the sides of the coins that this fallen consciousness operates in. And when you let that take over an entire planet or a country, best believe, like, for example, the United States just elected one of those people. I'm not saying this is better, like, there was a better choice. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they elected someone who has proven himself to be, have their, I can barely speak. My lips are so cold. He has his psychology. And he will do, and same with Putin, and same with the Chinese dictator. They have proven to be the most mentally unwell. They have created a cult following around them, because the only thing, they can only exist and survive by building an illusion and a fortress of a cult around them. That's 101. That's narcissistic psychopathy 101. Okay? And there's no rhyme or reason. They just want what they want, and they want to take everyone down with them, because at the end of the day, they're at their core, the core of their being, there's some fantasy that they're trying to fulfill, and it's very subconscious, or it could be conscious. But for example, Hitler, at the end of the day, his fantasy, more than anything, would cost millions and bajillions of dollars, and lives and sorrow and pain, just to fulfill a fantasy of him being in a bunker with a gun pointed at his head, saying, oh, the German people let me down. All of you did this to me, and blow his head up. Like, that was his ultimate fantasy, was just create more chaos, more destruction. And to, at the end of the day, get to the core wound of his being, which is, it's everyone else's fault and I'm the victim. And even though he probably doesn't actually believe that, that's what he'll stay with till the day that he died. Till he died and went out of embodiment. Because if you're anything like me, when you're in that primary narcissism state of being, and you're having that, I call it like, the healing developmental trauma models are really good at this. If you've read any of that material from Lawrence Heller, you enact from a certain developmental missed step, they call it. It's like a missed developmental step. And so you regress where you didn't get where you were traumatized, basically. You're acting out from that 2-year-old self or that infantile self. And so even if you tie in material of having previous lives or having ancestral trauma, it all is saying the same thing. And what I was saying was, he chose to keep that narrative till the day that he died. Like, everyone else is the problem. Everyone abandoned him. Everyone let him down. They don't love him. And he blows his brains out. So, in a bunker. And before he does that, he makes sure to poison his freaking girlfriend right before. It's like everyone else's fault. You know, he doesn't actually believe that. That part wants to tell him that and is feeding him the information. But if you're anything like me, when I've let a narcissistic part take over, or a narcissistic self, a why crybaby self, there is a higher mind that's like, this is bullshit. But you're so overtaken, like, this is bullshit as in, like, this is not true. Like, this information is a lie, but I'm believing it anyways because it's giving me the sense of power that I don't have currently, because I'm believing it and taking that energy in. I'm actually using my vessel and my vehicle and my 4 lower bodies as a byway mechanism to connect to entities out there that are feeding off of that energy. I have a squeaky wall. It makes no sense. I don't know what to say. And so, record outdoor walk? Yes, I will record outdoor walk. Okay. So, anyways, it's really fascinating. I mean, deeply fascinating, because we don't want to acknowledge that there are these entities and demons and discarnates that are feeding off of this. Like, how many billions of people do you think exist on planet Earth with developmental trauma? Because this world in and of itself is highly traumatizing. So there are entities that are attaching themselves to people that are attaching to these people that are enacting themselves out by the triggers from these missteps in the developmental sequence that you're supposed to, in a beautiful, perfect world, naturally progress through and have no issues with. But because we come in with our own psychology way before this current lifetime, it still matches up for a lot of people. A lot of people, it doesn't match up. Some people, it doesn't make any sense, and they wonder why the hell they are the way they are. However, it matches up beautifully. So, anyways, I can't speak for those people because all I've ever known is trauma. So, anyways, I hope this makes sense. I can expound on it a little bit more, but basically the synopsis of this is that when you don't resolve your psychology, the things that you're still reacting to and feeding, or the things that you're still reacting to, the stimuli that you're reacting to, the stories that you keep telling yourself from whatever trauma it's triggering, it's still feeding these entities inside of you, and you're using your body as a byway, an instrument to feed entities that will continue to feed a false sense of power. But when you step out of that dynamic and you no longer in that triggered state or enacting whatever anger or violence that it's telling you to do, you step out of that dynamic eventually and you are depleted because it's just used you. You're not you are being given a false sense of energy that in the moment feels like it's real and it's so powerful and you're so strong and you're so mighty and rah, 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 just like any 2-year-old would think, I'm so powerful, rah, hear me roar. No, because as soon as the tantrum's done, nap time, you're exhausted. That is a red flag. If anything you're doing is exhausting you like that, if you're one of those, new age channeling homies over there, and you're letting an entity move through you that's exhausting you at the end of the day, that is a demon. Same thing with any other activity that you're doing that's exhausting you like that. I mean, besides like physical gym activity, anyways, this is different. It's a very nuanced, subtle difference here, but I hope you enjoyed me screaming at the camera. I've been going through a lot over here, and hiding isn't going to get me anywhere. So here I am in all my glory. Bye-bye.